Hey, this week in 1980s news per Entertainment Weekly, Trump appoints 80s icons as, quote, ambassadors to Hollywood. Donald Trump announced a new political designation on stage at the Make America Great Again victory rally. Oh, what's that acronym? MAGAVR. MAGVR. MAGVR. Toward the end of this hour-long address, Trump said, quote, I got Mel Gibson, Sylvester Stallone, and Jon Voight to become ambassadors of Hollywood, California, to put it back on track. So they're all ambassadors. You have to refer to them as ambassadors, Mr. Ambassador, end quote. Trump first signals his intention to appoint the roster of conservative actors, two of which rose to worldwide renown in the 1980s, to the unprecedented position in a Truth Social post back in January 16th. After the announcement, Gibson, who recently lost his Malibu home in the Palisades fire, told Entertainment Weekly that he wasn't aware that Trump would be handing him this made-up role. Gibson remarked, quote, any chance the position comes with an ambassador's residence, end quote.
I like that.
His house just burned down. Yeah, he did.
I like that.
His house just burned down. Marcus says the acronym you're looking for was DIPSHIT. Oh, yeah. There you go. Voight also shared his sentiments with Entertainment Weekly, noting, quote, very few films are made here, but we are fortunate to have an incoming president who wants to restore Hollywood to its former glory. And with his help, I feel we can get it done, end quote. Now, this had me thinking immediately, and I'll just tell you guys right now, I'm not a fan of President Trump. If you can't handle that, okay, that's fine. But it had me ask the question, at least, is Hollywood, suffering, as a suggestion is? And if it is, what can a president of the United States do to help? So I started digging into this, and not going to surprise you, but the film and television industry has been offshoring production. They actually call it runaway productions that are not made in the U.S. or are not made in California. And there's different reasons for doing this. Sometimes the demographics of a particular region may provide the type of casting they need. Maybe if it's a foreign film or set in a different country, they go there. It may be because of the locale. Certain places may be good stand-ins for even prior eras of the United States because, those countries are slower to, replace old architecture, for example. But most often, of course, the reason is it's just cheaper. Now, it turns out, I was surprised that this isn't a new phenomenon. In fact, I found an article talking about how back in 1952, that the Hollywood Film Council of the American Federation of Labor launched a campaign to stop runaway productions. And at the time, the head of the organization, Dolph Thomas, said he didn't have any problem with folks going because of the casting or the locale they may have needed, but not to save money, essentially. But the response that he got 60 years ago is virtually what they're saying today, which is, if we can't make it in these other places, we're just not going to make them at all because it's too expensive to make it here. But this is consistent with every other industry in the world. It's cheaper to do stuff elsewhere. Look, I don't agree with that. I wish it weren't the case.
Right.
But it's cheaper to do everything around the world, other places. And so that's what happens.
Well, soon there'll be an ambassador of microprocessors and an ambassador of paper goods. And, anywhere things are being offshored, just make up a title and assign somebody who has no control, by the way, over the industry, assign them the ambassadorship. I mean, I don't know if you know, but Mel Gibson is an actor, and he doesn't run Hollywood.
Yeah. That's Mr. Ambassador actor to you, John.
Right. Jon Voight, Sly, they're actors. It's not as if you went and got a diplomat who has meetings with all the muckety-mucks in Hollywood all the time and said, all right, now you're my eyes and ears on the ground. They're just guys waiting for a part. They work there like anybody else. It's like going to the guy who greets you at Walmart and going, you are now the ambassador of the entire Walmart chain. I'm like, they don't tell me what's going on. That's okay. You just let me know. I just work here.
Yeah. And even still, I mean, what are they going to hear? I think they'd hear what every other industry has said to folks, that lament the fact that we offshore stuff. Well, okay, make it cheaper for us to pay, maybe, put some laws or regulations in place that we can pay people less. Nobody wants that, because then those people
No.
can't afford to buy the products these people are making unless they lower the prices.
Aw.
Well, that's all part of the master plan. All the prices are going to come down, so you'll be able to afford
Oh,
it.
yes, I heard that. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I don't know. This is day 2 of the. I don't want to date us.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I have so many things I could say
if there's something
about
I could say that's
offshoring.
not cynical, is that fine? If there's a way, certainly, to bring more jobs into the United States, absolutely.
Yeah.
But everything is a system. Everything is a system. You can't just change one part of the system without changing all of the interconnected and interdependent parts of the system. And I'm not sure that
Yes.
3 aging actors are the guys that know all of those moving pieces. If there was a good faith effort and desire to make some sort of a change, we need somebody who understands the industry and works inside of the industry at a high level to be able to do that. And I think those 3 actors are great figureheads. They're great representations of an idea. They're concepts of an idea, perhaps you might even say, but it's not really the solution to assign these 3 actors.
I see what you did there. Kat, you said you had opinions about offshoring. You're not.
Well, I do. I'm sort of wondering where all the Trump branded things are made.
Oh, well, that's true too. You
wondering
don't
about
have
that.
to wonder. You know. You
do
no,
know.
you do know, right?
I do know.
You don't have to pretend like you don't know. We do know. I mean, his stuff
Exactly.
is made overseas.
That's right.
His
So is
family
he going
has
to appoint an ambassador of the Trump
tie making
organization branded? Yes.
Ambassador
or
of gold
Ivanka's clothes
sneakers,
making.
ambassador of
Yes.
Bibles, certainly.
I know. It's just
And one other thought, is it possible that this could be related to, I'm aware that he is unhappy with his lack of popularity over in that region of our United States,
in
over
California.
in Hollywood.
Yeah, decidedly a
and-
blue state. Yeah, sure.
Right. And I wonder if this is just some way for him to try to increase his popularity, to paint a picture of having fans and having influence in an area where he so desperately wants to be popular. He wants them as part of his fan base, shall we say.
yeah. In theory, I mean, I don't know what are the action items you could take to do that. He's not going to change any minds, really.
I don't
But-
think so,
yeah.
but it just feels like a gesture towards that.
Well, I think
it's something.
Look, I didn't mean this to be a political discussion necessarily,
Right.
but it does seem like he likes to have the appearance of fixing things, right?
Mhm.
Even
Yeah,
though, even to the extent of proclaiming that he's going to fix something that it can't be fixed.
Right.
Certainly not in a more complex way than just appointing 3 actors to these made-up positions. But there are some real things that can be done, at least, right? Because we know we can't lower labor costs. That's not going to happen. The cost of goods in the U.S. or it's whatever the market will bear. That's not going to happen. And Karen points out it's not just the actors; they have crews too. Yeah, that's a big part of the problem. It's cheaper to use a crew over in a different country than it is in the U.S. But one thing that they are doing, at least in states, throughout the U.S. have been doing this, and also Canada and other countries, is offering incentives, financial incentives. In California right now, at least as of today, there's a $330 million cap on the amount of, money available for California probably to write off or forgive or not tax you on as far as the production goes. Gavin Newsom, hearing the pleas of Hollywood, to try to address what Trump is claiming he wants to fix, has proposed raising that to $750 million, which wouldn't go into effect until this summer. But there's California still competing against even states in the United States like Georgia, which doesn't have a cap at all.
Yeah, right next door to me. Georgia is huge for production, and not just live production. Animation is done there, huge volume because the lack of that cap of being able to write off production costs, tax write-offs. And you mentioned Canada, both ones I was thinking of. So many of my favorite shows are shot in Canada, and it's like this little town in Canada was made to look like this town in Philadelphia.
Right.
Very
you
common.
don't even know. Right. Yeah. But whether even this tax incentive passes is no telling whether or not it'll help stave off California shipping stuff overseas. I don't even know, not being in the U.S., I don't know what their laws, they could do whatever they want, I imagine. So, but what is interesting to me is it seems like this puts Trump, at least, he's going to have to ally himself with folks that he's been insulting for years, including Gavin Newsom, if he really wants to do something.
Yeah.
And the only other thing, the thing that's maybe that is within the power of Trump is something on a national level. And in October last year, Representative Adam Schiff, who's I don't know if he's sworn in yet, but he's probably a senator from California now, proposed that they offer national incentives that would be on top of whatever any state offers. So if Trump is to save Hollywood, it's like he suggests he wants to do, he's going to have to align himself with Gavin Newsom and Adam Schiff, two people he's got nicknames for that are not, flattering.
To fix any problem in a real way, that's not just lip service, and I'm not just talking about one side or the other, it requires reaching across the aisle. It requires working together, not being adversarial. It requires some sort of olive branch, some sort of acknowledgement of your differences, and then try to move forward. And it's something that we don't do incredibly well in the United States, certainly not in the last half decade or so.
Yeah. I had once fantasized that, can we tie their salaries to these things? You have to have enough bipartisan legislation with no pork and things snuck in there in order to get paid. Period. Now, the reality is, though, there's some portion of these folks that don't need to work at all. They don't need that salary. That goes right into an investment or something. There's a good number of Congress people that, are still
like, I don't even need your money, right? They're going to say,
right.
Don't worry. Special interest will take care of me. I don't need your money, your salary money.
Right.
I live off lobbyist dollars.